Hello, and we are back with another episode of Wrestling with Johners, and I'm joined by a familiar guest. He's been on this show before, just a couple of months down the road, as a matter of fact. Ste Bibby, the owner, the founder, the commentator of Lancashire Wrestling Federation. Steve, thank you for coming back on the show. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's always a bright spot in the day to come on and talk to you. So yeah, all's good today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've invited you back primarily to talk about the next LWF show, which, as you reliably informs me, is your biggest show of the year, taking place. Let me just bring up the graphic here, on the 16th of April. So just a few days away now. We are just a few short days away from the Chorley Town Hall. I think you ran a show there. Was it your December show last year? A hell of a turnout, a great event. I think there might have been a power cut involved, but you got it all running in the end. You got it all back in order, and I'm sure you will again this time around. So this is the show we're going to be talking about. So we're going to be breaking down the matches individually, Steve. And I can't wait to do that. And I think 7 matches have been announced so far. Incredible lineup. But you've been a busy guy since we last spoke. You've had a couple of shows. Now, when you were last on, we did have a look. We did break down and provide a bit of a preview for Lancashire Riot, which took place in February. They had another show since then, marching on. So bring us up to speed. So for anybody that might be new to the LWF or may not have seen or be up to speed with what's happened the last 2 shows ahead of the show on Saturday the 16th. Let's talk about the Lancashire Riot first of all. A hell of a show on the 12th of February, headlined by that 20-woman strong battle royal to crown the first ever LWF Women's Champion. Give us a little bit of a Ste Bibby rundown of what happened on that show then.
It was a very chaotic show. Like I said, the main event was the Riot, but there was a whole host of things going on before it. We had multi-man tag matches. We had Franco Varga make a big appearance. Yeah. And we had an amazing triple threat match for the #1 contendership. So there was a lot before it. But again, the whole event really was based around that Women's Championship Riot. And I mean, if you want to sort of highlight, because obviously when a Rumble happens, you sort of pick out the highlights from it. There was so many from that. Gia Adams had almost a Brock Lesnar moment at the beginning, eliminating 5 or 6 women at the start.
Yeah, she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
Absolutely, and the crowd just buzz off her completely. We had a massive brawl between Tonga and Kelly Van Ness that went out to the catering and all around the building, which actually ended up with Kelly receiving a broken rib.
Wow!
I know. It was wild. We had to get Synergy out to stop it, and then we had. I think one of the most shocking moments in the Riot was seeing Lana Austin and Rio eliminated at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, you would think 2 household UK, 2 of the biggest names on the circuit, to have them in the match and to have them eliminated at the end. A lot of people would have pegged either Lana or Rio as the favourite for the whole thing, but that didn't happen, did it?
No, it was that again. It's the unpredictable nature that seems to come with our events at the moment.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
And then, of course, we had the shock at the end with Katie Hawkins turning on Helena Razor to pretty much hand Jenny B the inaugural Women's Championship. So it was a bizarre night, but like obviously very historic.
Absolutely. And we spoke during your interview when we were previewing the Lancashire Riot. Harley Hudson was meant to have been in the match. She got injured earlier on in the year in January. I actually had Harley on the show a few weeks ago. Fantastic guest, a very, very popular guest. But she was on commentary during that match. So, like I said, I haven't had the opportunity to see the whole event back. I've seen highlights, but it is available on Powered 4 TV, isn't it, Steve?
It will be. I've got a backlog of things to get through, but it will be there. Don't worry. We're just doing monthly shows. It's just there's going to be a little bit of a wait, but I'm working on that one at the moment.
Absolutely. And I did ask during my interview with Harley Hudson, how did she feel being on commentary, watching that fantastic women's main event, that 20-woman rumble, and eventually seeing Jenny B walk away as the first ever LWF champion. From your perspective, sitting next to Harley on that behind that commentary desk on the 12th of February. Do you think that she took it well? I said to her there must have been a lot of mixed emotions for Harley on that evening.
She takes everything well, though. It's like she hides it so well, but I think she was itching to get in there. She was pleased that we brought her in to be part of it, but she really wanted that place that she'd earned the previous show. Ironically, she beat Jenny B to get that chosen spot in the Riot, but unfortunately, we know what happened after that. So she was, you could tell she wanted to be in the ring, but she was brilliant on commentary. She was supremely interested with everything that went on and really did a great job in spite of everything, I think.
Absolutely. And we went from Lancashire Riot in February to marching on in March last month. So let's bring up the correct graphic here. March the 12th, a month from the day when Lancashire Riot took place. Another stacked lineup, another stacked card, and it probably lends in nicely to what we're going to talk about next, which is the preview for your next show, Slamaganza. But give us your nutshell version of Marching On and how that kind of leads us into the next show.
Well, Marching On, first and foremost, was to sort of throw a little fuel on the fire for Slamaganza, certainly in terms of the LWF Championship picture, because at the end of the triple threat match at the Riot, when Sona Dursun became #1 contender, he was immediately informed that he would be teaming with Reynaldo at Marching On, just so they could sort of scout each other a little bit. And they took on the Merseyside Mercenary Squad at Marching On in what was a tremendous match, but Reynaldo made one mistake in the match, which Sona wasn't happy about, and he decided to leave his partner high and dry. And Reynaldo took a very big loss, really, to Dan Evans in that match, and consequently now we have quite a bit of needle in that championship match that we didn't have before. It was also a chance for the Wrecking Crew to defend their championships ahead of Slamaganza. They were successful against the Blazing Guns, and we were sort of stuck in this limbo situation with the Women's Championship because Lana Austin, though she got the fall for herself and Helena Reza in the tag match at Marching On, as you mentioned, Harley before was involved ringside with Jenny B, and Lana took big exception to that. And Lana's had her eye on that championship ever since what happened at the Riot. So I feel like her work the last few months and the way Jenny B has sort of acted while she's had that belt, I think it only makes sense to give Lana the opportunity. But I have to be fair, and I made the announcement on Monday Night Mutiny the other week that it would be a tag team contest where Harley would be able to step back in the ring for the first time in an LWF ring for the first time in a long time, and team with Lana to try and earn her that shot. And then, of course, if you want to close off the nutshell, we had a situation with Kelly Van Ness and Bob Costin were doing the raffle, and Bob Costin was attacked by Nate Reese, and Tonga also appeared out of nowhere. We didn't expect it to be there to assault Kelly Van Ness, and Nate Reese decided to take it upon himself to cut some of Bob Costin's blonde mane off. And now we have a situation where we have the her versus her at Slamaganza. So Marching On has really set this show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And why is it? What is it about the interval raffles that cause the most amount of drama at wrestling shows? You got to keep your eye on them raffles. A lot of action can take place during the intervals for sure. But before we break down and preview the 7 matches for Slamaganza, going to throw a quick plug to our sponsors, 1310 Apparel, who are the excellent sponsors of the Wrestling with Johners podcast and the Johners Podcasting Network. And if you head over to their store at Wrestle Merch Central, you can see the whole collection, the whole apparel range there of t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, bags, whatever you want to get your hands on, including their hardcore range. Their lucha range of apparel, and of course their more traditional 1310 and Four Corners t-shirts, hoodies, beanies there. And if you head over to their WrestleMerch Central store or their Big Cartel store, you can see the exclusive 1310 Heidi Katrina shirt there. And as a viewer and a listener to the Wrestling with Johners podcast, you can take advantage of our deal with 1310 by heading over to their WrestleMerch Central store. Simply go to 1310.merch.global and you will see 1310's WrestleMerch Central store. And if you take advantage and purchase any of those t-shirts, hoodies, beanies, bags, anything with the 1310 logo on it from their WrestleMerch Central store, you can take advantage of our offer and get 10% off at checkout by using the discount code 1310WMC. And this is an exclusive offer over on their WrestleMerch Central store. Just use the discount code 1310WMC. So there we go, Steve, back over to us. And let's have a look at some of the matches. We got some of the more main event matches to talk about at the very end. But this one is, let's say, an awesome match. Clash versus Nick Cutter. Give us your rundown of these two individuals. What got us to this moment? What got us to this match at Slamaganza on Saturday?
Well, Nick Cutter has a story here. He really with him, it's about desperation. He lost in the main event at Fight Night before Christmas in the LWF Championship match to Reynaldo. He lost in the triple threat #1 contendership match at the Riot to Sona Durson with Steen. So I think now, having come out and said that he's going to hold on to that Castle Cup and become the first two-time winner of it, this is really his attempt to try and keep some silverware or keep some sort of award or some gold or whatever in the Wrecking Crew, because at the moment the Wrecking Crew have their tag team championships and Nick Cutter has lost both his chances to bring something to the Wrecking Crew of his own. And now the Castle Cup tournament's held this year. That means he loses grip on that as well. He had that trophy, and now it's going to go to somebody else, and he doesn't want that to happen. He wants to try and break a record, but I think mainly it's down to trying to save some face. He wants to keep that trophy in the Wrecking Crew and not be the only guy in the trio that doesn't have something to his name.
Absolutely.
And Clash is an amazing victory over Balatius at Marching On via countout. He never gives in. No fear. I mean, I think he's no fear, but he's certainly will do anything to win. Puts his body on the line, and he's one to be feared. I think, because I think those kind of people that don't care about their own well-being are the most dangerous.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 100%. And that's a semi-final cup match, isn't it? So from there, like I say, I'm guessing that leads us all the way to your next big show, whenever that might be, where you might crown the Castle Cup champion.
Go
no. Ahead.
No, the semi-finals at Slamaganza, and the final will be held at Slamaganza.
So it's an ongoing kind of story and tournament that will take place on the same evening, which makes it even more intriguing, even more interesting. So that's fantastic. So let's talk about our next match then. And like I say, from one semi-final match to the next, Aiton Steen versus Stephen. That's Stephen Cross, I believe. His name's just slightly cut out at the bottom there. Yes. The second of the semi-final of the Castle Cup tournament matches. Give us your rundown of this match, the two individuals involved, and even more intriguing now that we know that both semi-finals are happening on the same show, and the winner of those matches will face each other at Slamaganza. So it adds even more intrigue.
Yeah, I think with the Castle Cup's had a strange sort of a bit of a structure throughout its time. I'll just clear this up before I go on to that match. The first time we did it, it was two semi-finals, and so it was three semi-finals and a triple threat final at the first time it was held. Yeah. The second time around, we held the tournament on at the academy, and then the final was at Slamaganza. And then the third one in July last year was this format now, 2 semi-finals and a final on the same night. Steen's performance in the main event at Marching On against Cameron Solas has earned him his place in this semi-final. It was a brilliant match. And Stephen Cross had a difficult time because he was scheduled to face another opponent who couldn't be there. And one of the Los Lancadors, who I'll mention later, Mysterious Mr. B, took the place. So whatever he had prepared for went out the window, and he still managed to get the win. So, it's an interesting match, this. Steen's a big fan favourite, and Stephen Cross can't stand the fans. So it's a nice little contrast.
Absolutely. And I love the tournament format. And like I say, seeing 2 semi-finals and the final in the same night, I don't know, it kind of takes me back to the glory of the King of the Ring days.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And this definitely has throwbacks to that for me, for sure. Very, very exciting. 2 great semi-finals. You can have a fantastic championship match or final match there as well. What about this one then, Steve? So this one has got an interesting stipulation, especially when you look at the participants. A hair versus hair match. Kelly Van Ness and Rob Coston versus Tonga and Nate Reese. So, like I say, 4 amazing competitors on the UK scene. And the kind of added element, the added dynamic of having it a hair versus hair match. Give us the story behind this one.
Well, I think in terms of Kelly and Tonga, this began quite a while back. There was a bit of needle in the October show when Tonga made a debut with her and Kelly. They seemed to gravitate to one another in a vicious way.
Yeah.
And then at Fightmare before Christmas, Tonga took it upon herself to cost Kelly Van Ness a match at the opening match of that night against Aurora Tevez. Then Kelly came back out and did exactly the same with Tonga, and we had another ringside brawl, which had to be broken up. And again, the same happened at the Lancashire Riot. They just do not like one another. And obviously Tonga decided she wanted to be part of the raffle that Kelly was hosting with Bob. And Nate's obviously had his problems with Bob Coston since January. And it's just two big rivalries colliding. But I think with him deciding to humiliate Bob and cut his hair off in the ring, I know Bob is known for his big blonde mane, his locks. That's almost what gives him the popularity.
Hair that I could only dream about, Steve. Hair that I could only dream about.
He's got a forehead I could only dream about. But that hair is sort of symbolic of him. And I think Nate saw that as the biggest kind of insult to cut that off and humiliate him. So this stipulation, I just feel was necessary to sort of end all this, because it's got more and more hostile as the months have progressed.
Absolutely. And like I say, I love the stipulation, love the participants. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it. So can I ask, is there going to be I don't know, like a shearing after the match? Is it going to be hair clippers? Is it going to be hair flying everywhere? There's going to be drama. Is it going to be kind of a Slamaganza moment, shall we say?
Yeah, the hair will be sheared off after the match.
Wow.
And it is whoever loses the fall. So whoever takes that pinfall loses the hair. It's that simple.
Oh my God. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be fantastic. Right, where are we? How about this one? For the LWF Tag Team Championships, a 4-way match, Synergy versus the Merseyside Mercenary Squad versus the Models versus the Wrecking Crew. A lot of beef, a lot of talent in that ring. This 4-way matches can get pretty messy, pretty hectic, pretty quickly. But I'm a huge proponent, a massive fan of tag team wrestling all day long, and this one looks like it's got all the components of being a fantastic match. Like I say, 4 teams in the same ring at the same time for the LWF tag team titles. Give us your thoughts on this one.
I mean, this is what it says on the tin. This
Yeah.
is we've seen the Wrecking Crew, the Models, the Mercenary Squad, and Synergy, and we've seen them in multi-man matches, certainly at the Riot and in January and in March. We've seen so much tag team wrestling in the last 3 months, and all of it has been absolute chaos. So I thought, if we're going to have this spread across the months, why don't we just put it all in one pressure cooker and just let it and see what happens? The Wrecking Crew have pushed the luck with the behavior, so I think it's only right that we put them in this situation. They tried to pay off the Mercenary Squad, who, I mean, to anger and get on the wrong side of the Mercenary Squad, you've got to be a really unpleasant duo.
Yeah.
That's what the Wrecking Crew did. And Mercenary Squad have now gone, no, we want those belts. We don't want your payoffs anymore. We're not going to help you anymore. So I'm all on board that. And the Models were due to participate in the tournament in January, but unfortunately couldn't for medical reasons. So they have been given the opportunity now. And I don't think anybody's more deserving in terms of the representation of the LWF and Synergy. So it just makes all the sense in the world, this match. I'm not looking forward to being ringside for it that close, but I am looking forward to watching it.
So how is it going to work? Because I've seen many kind of multi-team tag matches we all have. Is it going to be a tornado tag? Can you have all the participants wrestling at the same time, fighting each other around the ring, or is it going to be fairly structured?
No, it's got to be structured. I think if I tornado tag this, then I don't know if I've got the insurance for that.
The venue wouldn't last very long, would it?
No, I'm not doing
bigger
that
problems in a power cut.
Not at all. Yeah, they'd probably cut the power for us if we did something like that. So
absolutely, that's going to be also, like I say, a huge tag team wrestling fan over here. So I can't wait for that one. What about this match here? Lachlan Sharp versus Rob Drake. I'm guessing that this is a big grudge feud match. No specific stipulation, but there must be a story behind this one. Give us your kind of rundown on these two individuals and what puts them together at Slamaganza this Saturday, then, Steve.
Well, it was very out of nowhere, this, because Lachlan Sharp was having issues with John McKinney, John McKinney, and situation sort of forced those two apart. J-Mac was elsewhere, so Lachlan was just continued with his LWF career, but then he beat Stephen Cross in a 2 out of 3 falls match at the Lancashire Riot and was immediately, out of absolutely nothing, attacked by Rob Drake. And the reason being, and he was asked afterwards, Rob said that he couldn't understand why he was not informed of the space in that opening match that was available to take. He'd been at a few shows before and he believed that he should have had the place instead of Stephen Cross, and he took it out on Lachlan. And then at the marching on, he was once again involved and once again came out and attacked Lachlan again, and he has sort of forced this match, really. He's made sure it happens, and it's the best stage I could possibly do it on. And it's obviously Rob Drake's debut at Slamaganza for the LWF. It's the biggest place he could make a debut, but he's got what he wanted, essentially.
Yeah. And for any of my listeners or viewers that might not be too familiar with these two individuals, what sort of match are we expected to get at Slamaganza? What sort of spectacle are these two going to put on?
Well, the two very technically sound guys, but they are backed up by a lot of power. They are big guys with a lot of power, and of course as well, if you've got two great technical guys with a lot of power and they've got a huge grudge, I don't know. This one's, it's just let the bell ring. That's all I can say about that one, really.
Absolutely. Going to see a fantastic wrestling encounter for sure. So this match here could very well close the show. Not entirely sure. We shall discuss that. But you've got the LWF Championship on the line. The 16th of April, Slamaganza. The current champion Reynaldo goes up against Sunna Dursun. Two very, very well-known wrestlers on the UK scene. Two very well-known wrestlers on the LWF scene as well. These guys have got their story, and explain to us what got us to this point, because this is going to be a big championship match on Saturday, isn't it, Steen?
It is. It's a huge match. This, I think, for sentiment's sake as well, because Reynaldo and Sonny Durson have been down different paths, but they've crossed, and they're both at very different stages of their careers. Sonny Durson was due a #1 contendership match in November, but contracted COVID, so we had to rejig the card and change it. So he was still entitled to that opportunity. And he's been back to the LWF at Fightmare, had a great match with JJ Webb, and he looks as good as ever. So I thought, well, we'll give him that opportunity that he missed out on. So he was in the triple threat match at the Riot for the #1 contendership, and he was outstanding and managed to fend off a very, very good Aiton Steen and Nick Cutter to get that. And he and Reynaldo were working tremendously as a team at the start of the marching on tag contest with the Mercenary Squad, and it was just an errant kick, I think, from Reynaldo, and he caught Sonny, and he took great offence to that, and he dropped down off the apron and walked out, left Reynaldo at the hands of the Mercenary Squad, and he couldn't fight both of those guys off. So he's not only has he cost Reynaldo a win when he's champion, which is a big deal to have somebody pin you when you're holding that belt, but he's also shown that he's now focused heavily on beating Reynaldo. It's almost like the respect has sort of slightly waned a little bit, which is a big deal for a main event. It's caused a hostility there wasn't before, and it's shown just how determined and aggressive Sonny is at taking that LWF Championship at Slamaganza. And Reynaldo's a veteran; he knows what's coming, but I'm pretty sure he's preparing as we speak for that contest.
Absolutely. And Reynaldo, he's been the face, he's been the figurehead of the LWF for a while now, an extremely popular champion. Fans of all ages love Reynaldo. He really is the face of the LWF. Sonny Durson, this could be Reynaldo's biggest challenge, biggest threat to his championship since he became the champion.
I think as well, it's you've got to look at how hard and the journey that Reynaldo went on to work to get that LWF Championship. And it's got to be in the back of his mind that, he doesn't want all that work that he put in and all the hell he went through during those months to get it. He doesn't want all that to sort of just come to nothing after a couple of months of holding this belt. So, but yeah, I would say this is definitely his biggest test, and more so now that we've seen just how determined Sonny is to get that belt as well, and how he's no nonsense right now. Sonny, you can tell he came into the LWF in October and was very popular. He was slapping the fans' hands and everything. He came out at Marching On with more of a determination, I thought, and he left with a real grudge. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest test we've seen to Reynaldo. Absolutely.
A very, very exciting match between two of the best pros on the circuit at the moment. Yes, like I say, the fate of the LWF and the fate of the LWF Championship will be decided at the end of that match. And I've left this match till last. A lot to talk about here. Because of the fantastic combatants, and you've got Lana Austin teaming with Harley Hudson against the LWF Women's Champion, the first ever, the inaugural champion, Jenny B, and Aurora Tevez. And I'll let you explain this one. This was a match that you announced only last week. We're a few days away now from Slamaganza on the 16th of April. I've got to be honest with you, this is the match I'm looking forward to the most. Like I say, two great teams, four amazing individuals. Give us your rundown of this one. I'm interested to know your perspective on how we got to this match.
Well, I think it all centers around the end of the Riot. And just when I saw Lana come through the curtain when Helena Reza was being beaten by Aurora and Jenny had the belt, and there was such an anger in her eyes and her face, and it was like all the injustice that everybody else was feeling was like bottled up in her. You could see it. And she came out at marching on with the same mentality. She was raring to go. She didn't hold back. And she won. She got the fall for her and Helena that night. But with Harley at ringside, there was this constant berating from Jenny to Harley, because obviously she couldn't compete. And I think that also added to the fire. The injustice was bad enough, but to see Jenny flaunting in front of Harley, who really didn't get her opportunity that night, was too much for Lana. And I just think the way Lana is right now, if I do not offer her the opportunity to get that LWF Women's Championship, it's going to be to my detriment and to the company's, because I think she's going to do something silly. So I have to be fair. Like I said, I didn't want to just say, yeah, there's your title shot. She's going to earn it, but she's got the return of Harley Hudson to help her out. And Harley has been chomping at the bit for months. She has been sat at that announce table waiting and waiting for this opportunity. So she could not have a better tag partner to help her earn this championship shot. For some reason, Aurora Tevez is just joined at the hip with Jenny B at the moment. She has seen an ally for some reason. I don't know why, but they do seem to work together, and they're a pretty nasty duo. And there's only Lana and Harley that can stop them right now. And if Lana and Harley do stop them, it's Lana's chance, and that chance will come in May.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring up the graphic one more time because as it says there, and as Steve explained very clearly, that if Lana and Harley win for their team, then Lana does go ahead and get a title shot. Now, I don't want to throw any speculation here or any rumor or innuendo, any fuel to the fire. But just purely from my perspective, from a wrestling fan's perspective, if their team do win, if Harley and Lana do win, could that potentially add a bit of friction to them? And will Harley kind of begrudge Lana in any way for gaining that championship opportunity? And say Harley's been, unfortunately, on the shelf for a little while now. She has recently made her return to the wrestling ring, but this will be her return to an LWF wrestling ring. And do you think, it could potentially present a little bit of friction between these two if the outcome went their way on the night?
I think you never say never with everything we've seen, particularly like what we saw from Katie Hawkins when frustration finally gets the better of you. But I think Harley's, like I said, we've seen in the last 3 months, she's a patient person. I think she knows that business is business. And I actually think that if Lana manages to get that chance and does capture the LWF Women's Championship, I think Harley's got to have in her mind that she would like to go against Lana. So I think she's smart. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't know what's going to happen. I've been shocked enough in the last 6 months. So there is that potential, but my money's on Harley just sort of playing this through.
Absolutely. And let's not underestimate Aurora Tevez and Jenny B. Jenny B, we've got to take our proverbial hat off to her for being the first ever LWF Women's Champion. Aurora Tevez is a phenomenal competitor. Together, I think they're going to be a formidable tag team. You really do have two outstanding teams. Like I say, this is a match of main event caliber for any promotion up and down the land. You've got them on the 16th of April, Slamaganza. That's going to be a tremendous, tremendous match. And as we've discussed, we've broken down 7 matches that have already been announced for Slamaganza, not including the final of the Castle Cup, which will take place on the same night. So, there's so much action, so much intrigue and storyline to be had on the 16th from the Chorley Town Hall. I mean, Steve, we've got the caption running along the bottom there, but for anybody listening to the audio version of this, tell us how we can get involved, how we can be there live at the Chorley Town Hall and get our hands on some tickets for what will be your biggest show of the year.
Well, there is every time there is a post for a match, every time there's a graphic comes out and an announcement, it will always be accompanied by a ticket link to the box office. We are very heavily into the promoting this on all platforms, so it will be on Twitter, on Insta. We also posted the link and gave details on Monday Night Mutiny as well. It's important that we get the word out and continuously remind. It's the Easter weekend. It's a big weekend. So what better way to sort of to start your Saturday night Easter weekend with essentially a WrestleMania style show at the big venue in Chorley, right next door to a bar called the Vaults, which is who happily sponsor us. So it's we've got a nice involvement now in the centre of Chorley, and we want as many people there as possible. Just follow the links online, follow the event page. We will be updating it continuously, and we always have videos and promotional packages coming on in the lead up to the event as well, just to get a buzz about it.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Monday Night Mutiny. Tell us about that, because I don't think you had Monday Night Mutiny when we last spoke back in February. So a new concept. Give us your kind of your rundown of what is Monday Night Mutiny. How can we watch it? How can we enjoy it? And what action are we likely to see when we tune into that?
Got some old school Raw vibes as Monday Night Mutiny. It's basically just to sort of knit the events together. We want a little bit of story in between, and there's a lot of guys in the back that want to air grievances, or want a match, or want to go against somebody before a show and they don't get that opportunity. So this is their platform. The first Mutiny we brought out was very heavily based around the Los Lancadors, the three masked guys who made their debut in January. And they have not had the best run so far. It's not really gone for them, but they are very entertaining, and they were in separate contests that night. They were on the second one as well. So we're just trying to showcase a little bit in between the events, and also showcase the academy a little bit as well, and show what's coming through. And it's a nice continuous thing. And we produce these shows for YouTube. They are all available on YouTube, and that's where they will all go from now on. And we hope to do one in between each show. So you've got just that little extra before a show, and that little sort of, again, it creates a buzz. It's nice to continuously tell a story so nobody forgets.
100%. As we kind of start to wrap up this episode of Wrestling with Johners, first of all, give us your social links. Where can we find out more about the LWF? Where can we kind of reach out to you guys, get more information about the academy, and get to see all the clips that you post on social media on a regular basis? The floor is yours, Steve.
Well, Facebook, first of all, is quite a bit of a hub for what we do. We have it's Lancashire Wrestling on Facebook. You'd see us straight away. The logo is quite obvious with the big red rose. We also have the LWF Wrestling Academy, same sort of page that will come up if you type Lancashire Wrestling or LWF in. You will get to see all posts for the Mutiny shows, and any video packages we put on will go on those pages. With Instagram, it's the LWF Wrestling is the name, and on Twitter it's just LWF and again it's the same. I will post the same on all platforms, so whichever one you prefer to use, you'll get the same benefits from. YouTube is LWF Television. That's where you will get to see all Monday Night Mutinies, and again, any promotional packages, video packages, history segments we want to put in just to remind you of what's happened leading up to an event. Any interviews, we have a lot of exclusive content on there. Like, for example, we had the clip of Katie Hawkins being suspended from Slamaganza, went out recently on YouTube. That is free. Yeah. And obviously we are working through the backlog of Powered 4 TV events. November is very, very soon to be on there, and then we'll go from there January, February. I'm working hard on that backlog, but you can still see what we've done before now on Powered 4 TV as well. So we're on quite a few platforms.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just to wrap up, let's have one final plug for Slamaganza, Saturday the 16th of April. And if anybody's on the fence about, whether they should or shouldn't get tickets for your biggest show of the year, tell us why we should. And as you're talking, I'm going to flash up some of the match cards as well. But give us one final sell then, Steve.
Well, Slamaganza is our Hollywood night. It's the one event of the year that sort of determines everything we've ever done, and it showcases everything we've ever done. It was a big dream of mine to create a WrestleMania of our own, and that is it. You will see the best of the best at this show and delivering the best. We have so much on the line. We've got a Castle Cup winner, and we could have a new LWF champion and a new #1 contender for the women's title. We have a lot of upcoming talent on there as well. You know you're going to get an entertaining raffle even. There's always a lot of unexpected, crazy things happening at our shows, and Slamaganza is the biggest of the bunch. So that really should tell you that you're going to see that there in droves. It's our biggest night. It'd be brilliant to see everybody there, and there's nothing better than a massive 200 strong LWF crowd, and that's what we're aiming for. So definitely come down because you will see the best of British wrestling that night.
Absolutely. And don't forget to check out all of the LWF socials for ticket information where you can get your tickets. I'm guessing tickets will be available on the door as well, Steve.
Well, the aim is for that not to happen. I'd love to
you want to sell out beforehand, of course, yeah.
Yeah, there's I usually leave sort of room for about 20 to 30 tickets on the door. Hopefully we'll sell a lot on the box office, so it is only that. But yeah, if they are not on sale on the door, everybody will know in good time. But I would definitely recommend getting them online just in case we do get that last minute rush, because we have had that many times before now.
Excellent. With Steve, it's been a pleasure speaking to you again on Wrestling with Johners. Best of luck, and I know you won't need it for Slamaganza this coming Saturday, the 16th of April. But hope to get you back on the show again to promote future shows. But can't wait to check out Slamaganza. And don't wait. Don't hope there's tickets available on the door. Get your tickets now. But Ste Bibby, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks, John. Cheers.
Care.